let's start off there. Like, what drew you to the film industry? Like, how did you get involved in the film industry?
So I've been working in and around film for about 20 years. So it was a very long time ago that I got drawn to the film industry. My first interest was a friend of mine had worked like as a PA over the summer for a documentary shoot. And when we were watching it, she was like telling me, like, oh, look, those are my feet, or that's the back of my head, or whatever. Like, she was like in like background scenes and stuff. Like, my uncle was a producer, but I never met anyone else that, like, it just, if you didn't live in Hollywood, it just felt like an other sort of world to me.
Right.
And I thought it would be fun, but I didn't know that that was like the thing or whatever. And I was interested in film. I assumed I was going into like a business world growing up. And then I had the opportunity to work on some sets one summer myself and absolutely loved it. And then I actually started working in event production and event design in LA. And that's why I got into production design, art direction. I became a certified set rigger. I would build stages all over the West Coast and like, work on events that were being produced. And I loved it. And I thought that was what I was going to do for the rest of my life. The film that I just completed, The Heist, was made for the Easter Seals Disability Film Challenge because in 2011, I actually got very sick and I became a wheelchair user. I obviously was not rigging any stages or working on any sets. And in 2012, I basically had to accept that this was going to be my life now. And I spent a little bit of time trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And there's still a lot that I can do. And I ended up starting an independent production company, Space Dream Productions, in 2013. We produced our first film. It got released in 2016. It's currently on Amazon. It's called Names on the Wall. Everyone can go watch it. Um, and I just never looked back. I want to tell stories. I have had the honor of working in so many different departments. I've now won awards for everything from writing to cinematography to acting to directing to producing, stunt choreography. Um, like, I don't think there's a category we haven't won something in so far. And we don't enter like those sort of pay to play festivals where you pay a fee to, and we enter genuine festivals. You pay a submission fee, your work gets judged cold by a panel of judges. And if there are awards to win, maybe you win one, maybe you don't. I've now produced I think we've had over 25 films going to festivals, if I remember the numbers right. We've gotten over 200 award nominations and special mentions. We've won almost 70 awards, and I've had 19 different Best Picture nominees or winners. So my kind of passion is making film accessible to whoever wants to do it and really showcasing that when someone tells you they can do something, you should just believe them and give them the space to do it. It's really easy to make filmmaking accessible to anybody who has the passion and has the drive and wants to be a part of it. And we really try to focus on showcasing stories about people, different areas of walks of life. I say that filmmakers are ambassadors of humanity, charged with sharing their piece of humanity with the rest of the world, whatever that means. So
I
yeah, that's
understand
kind of
that.
my
I really got that. That's beautiful. So would that be like your mission statement?
ambassadors of humanity is kind of our sort of encompassing uh focus. Like whenever we have a new project or have something that we could work on, we always compare it. Like, is this something that forwards that message or not? Is that something that we want to support?
Right. I
Yeah.
totally understand. Like me personally, when it comes to creativity, I guess maybe I'm a snob. I don't want to just create to create. I want to create meaningful things. That's why I started doing this podcast to get people to communicate like who they are, what they do, how they got where they got. And it seems like your whole life took a total like turn. Like you were like working, you were it seems very successful in what you're doing, and then you had to like shift and you shifted to another level. like you just jumped. It sounds like you're like, okay, I'm doing this. I can't do this. I'm doing this, and that's pretty. I think that's an amazing story right there that you just jumped up. So how does this film that you just did, the heist, relate to that? Because I could see right now from what you said, I wasn't sure when I watched it and the little notes that Sarah sent me whether you are actually wheelchair bound or not, and you answered the question. And tell me a little bit about how this this film fits into your life and what you're trying to do with it.
Yeah. So everybody in the film was authentically cast. The deaf character was played by a deaf actress, not paid. Everybody was volunteer. But the deaf character was played by a deaf actress. Um, Sarah actually was the actress who played Queenie the fence. And Queenie's service dog is Sarah's actual service dog. Sarah has several medical conditions and uses a medical service dog. Um, and I am a mixed mobility occasional wheelchair user, meaning that depending on what's going on with my body, I may or may not be able to walk on a given day. Um, and the inspiration for the film was, unfortunately, last November, I ended up back in the hospital. And when I was getting all the bills from said hospital experience, I was joking that I was going to have to rob a bank to be able to pay for these hospital bills. And it was just when the prompt came out, right? So when the prompt came out of a buddy comedy for the challenge, the idea is you have 5 dates and you have to write the entire film in 5 days. Excuse me, make the entire film in 5
Right.
days. And it launched 2:51 Eastern on April 2nd, and you have to submit the film by 8:59 p.m. on April 7th. So final script log, any planning, shot list, storyboards, rehearsals, final dialogue blocks. I knew the potential style that I maybe wanted the characters to go in, but like I didn't know what the themes were. They don't tell you the themes until the day it launches. So we knew buddy comedy, that was it. So I knew that I wanted to make a movie with my best friend who's deaf. Because she's deaf, that automatically means it's in English and ASL. Um, and the whole thing was Sarah's idea. She found the challenge and sent it to me last year. It just wasn't a good fit time wise to do it. So this year she was on and she's like, this is when we're doing it. Don't forget you have this coming up. We knew we wanted Sarah to be a part of it. And we knew that, she has a service dog. So all of the kind of elements of the story were there. We knew we wanted to do a heist. But then once we got the actual prompt, some of the themes were things like a dynamic duo was one of the themes. A sort of fish out of water kind of unlikely partnership was another one. So you only have to pick one theme, but we figured we'd go big or go home and we'd do two.
Right.
Um, so we did the dynamic duo of Lily and Star, and we added in a sort of unlikely connection. And we also felt that Lily and Star's friendship maybe also was unlikely.
Right.
And then we factored in Queenie and Lily kind of becoming friends at the end. We had to have props. So we had to have a bowl. We had to have pretzels. We had to have a coffee cup. We had to have a hat. We had to have a photograph. We had to have a cell phone. So we just made the entire movie hats, cell phones, coffee cups. Like we just put them everywhere. We included photographs of coffee cups and photographs of bowls. Like we just, that whole magazine, I designed that the afternoon of the second, like after we got the prompt, that got designed. We had a printer on standby that rush printed it for us the next morning. And then we went and picked them up and got them on set so we could use them for filming. The only thing that was like historical is the photographs of me in the hospital. That was me in November in the actual hospital. So, that my husband took those pictures. So it really was kind of how do we tell this story in a way that checks all the boxes required of the competition while still being a story we want to tell, having authentic representation. One of the requirements is you have to have one person with disabilities in a key production role, director, writer, producer. We had 0 able-bodied people in any of those roles. So every single person writing, directing, editing, composing, sound design, coloring, main lead talent, producing, first AD, second AD, all of those scheduling, location managing, like all of those roles was all filled by a person or people with disabilities. Which for me, it's kind of like, yeah, there's a thing on the Easter Seals disability website where they say that people with disabilities is the largest minority
Right.
because no matter what community you're in, whether you're a person of color, you're a woman, you're older, you're younger, you're a certain religion, you're, a member of the LGBTQA community, you're a strict Roman Catholic, you're Jewish, you're Arab, no matter who you are, you could have a disability. And as you age, you're going to get disabilities. You're going to start losing your hearing. Your vision's going to get blurry. You might start to need glasses. You might get Alzheimer's. Like you're going to experience needs of accessibility the older you get, no matter what. You're a pro athlete. You fall down and break your leg. Congratulations. You have a disability, at least until your cast is off. So I wanted our story to feel like you're watching a movie that happens to have people who are disabled in it without feeling like you're watching a PSA about disabled people or you're watching something that's meant to be educational. Educational content has its place. PSAs are very important. But as a filmmaker, as a storyteller, I just wanted to tell a story that checked all the required boxes, that was a buddy comedy, that was funny, hopefully, that was, had a little bit of action with like the lasers and all that
That
stuff.
was great.
And that was intense.
I
That
was
was a
gonna
lot
say
of
Tom
work.
Cruise would be proud of you. It really, he's like, there was one part where like I don't know who did that. Who stunted that one? Yeah.
So I choreographed it and directed it and like shot listed and planned the whole thing. The actual stunt actress was an actress named Hannah Bender. Her brother lives with disabilities. She's able-bodied and she was phenomenal. It was actually her first time doing a stunt role and she killed it. She's
It was great.
fantastic.
It was really great.
Yeah, she was because I wanted, people in the deaf community, some people consider it a disability, some people don't. It's totally up to how the person identifies. But being deaf doesn't mean there's anything wrong with the rest of your body. And we wanted Star as a character, yeah, of course she can make her way through a laser field. Like, why not? Like, that's just what she can do. Unfortunately, the actress playing Star is not completely physically abled and she would not be able to physically do those stunts. So in Hollywood, it's very common for an able-bodied actor to portray disabled. We had a disabled person portraying able-bodied and we just brought in a stunt double to make that happen, which I thought was really cool personally.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
I really, I thought that was actually brilliant. I mean, the whole concept of what you're doing in this film is brilliant. I think people really, should understand, and hear what you have to say creatively, artistically, like in this interview, and then, you know, watch the film because they'll get it and fully understand it. One of the things that I got out of the film that was really interesting is the word fence. Now, that like having grown up being a degenerate gambler, you learn words, and I haven't heard that word in a really long time. So there's got to be something to that word.
I feel like less people watch TV shows like White Collar than I thought they did. I totally thought that was just a common word, an offense in someone who deals in stolen goods, right?
Right. Yeah.
They're the middle guy, they're the guy. They're the one who knows the buyer, who gets the money, who gets the goods. And
Yep.
that's why we had to actually come up with a sign for it because there's no like ASL word for fence.
Right.
And because finger spelling takes a long time and we only had 5 minutes, one of the things that Stevie did was consulted on the best way to sort of translate the English to ASL. So we ended up with a sign for fence, which I'm not going to do because I'm hearing, but I can tell you that it's the sign for steal and then the sign for like buy and sell.
Okay.
So it was basically like to steal and buy and sell was kind of the concept that we used for a fence, like for the sign for fence.
Okay.
But I totally thought that was a much more common word. And I would have like made more of an effort to define it in the film if I realized, because you're the second person actually who was like, wait a minute, hang on. How do you know this word fence? I know it from watching White Collar, which is an amazing TV show.
Right. So I'm saying
But I think
it's used in detective slash crime type, but certain types of writing, it's not a common word. Right.
I totally thought it was more common, and I'm learning now that I need like a little footnote, like defining what offense is.
Right. But
What
right.
people
It's
Google.
great. I think people fully understand it, you know?
Yeah.
I mean,
Or they can always pause it, look it up.
yeah, exactly. But I think people do know what it is. I just don't think it's a common word, meaning used. That's what I meant more than
Right, right,
you know
right.
what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
kind of nostalgic. It'd be like Columbia would have used this terminology, you know? It's old school.
I'm old. What can I say?
You know what? You're bringing it back. So like, there's a lot of words that people bring back, and you're bringing that back. So Sarah, is that like her normal hairstyle?
Yeah. So, Sarah is bald. One of the things that I super respect about her, and one of the things that I absolutely love about her is she's such a powerhouse of a person. And like, there's no one part of her that just defines who she is. I mean, she was the 2023 Miss Ultimate Pennsylvania. So she was literally the reigning like pageant queen, Miss Pennsylvania Sash and Crown for 2023. And she was the runner up in another, there's like different like, pageants are kind of like festivals, like you can win at Sundance, but then you go to Berlinale, it's like different.
Yeah.
So she was the runner up for another festival for Miss Pennsylvania this year. And she's such a like just gorgeous person.
Mhm.
And like she's so strong and kind of Queenie. Queenie is like how I see her as just this total like just powerhouse. So
Sense.
yeah, my friend. So that I now get to say I know offense. My character gets to say she is offense. But yeah, we just wanted we had Lily with kind of all the stress and anxiety and kind of also like bringing some of the realism to the sort of fantastical of like, okay, hang on. What are we doing? Like most normal people don't have a conversation about robbing a museum. That's not everyday conversation. But so we have the fantastical in Star, and all of the sort of shenanigans and the kind of like fun and wild energy. And then we have Queenie, who's just kind of doing business. She's just there, not bothered by any of this. And one thing that Sarah's brought up a couple times, which I think is really cool, is that Queenie is definitely more of the criminal side of life, but she's kind of in the chaotic good for this,
Right.
the chaotic good category for this particular film, because, what is she doing? She's helping somebody who has a serious medical condition, who's overwhelmed with medical bills, being able to pay way more money than anybody should have to pay for healthcare. So yeah, they're stealing, and yeah, that's not a good thing. You shouldn't, crime bad, but she's kind of using her evil to do good.
Right.
Like she's using her connections and her network to help this woman who it would be bankrupt and unhoused without the financial means to handle this. So I do kind of like that Queenie, she's just kind of there in a lot of the scenes. She doesn't really say very much. She's got a couple of lines, but they're all zingers. And she's just so as Lily and Star kind of arguing, and they're having a pretty heated discussion. She is not bothered. She's doing business. And she just looks up, done. Money's here. We're good. Buyer's accounts confirmed. You got your deal. You're good to go.
Done.
And that's it. Yeah, done.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing to take life and play with life and do what you did, and bringing, communication to others about, it's not just the story. It's actually like it has a lot of truth to it. But you're telling this story, and put the fantasy in there, especially with the laser scene. I mean, it's just like, it's perfect. And then at the end, this fantasy, it's just like, well, what do people do to overcome barriers? And it really does that.
I I love that you use the word
Right.
barriers because to me, accessibility is all about taking down barriers and making things accessible. And it's true. Life has barriers. There's always if everything was just like an open field of beautiful flowers and endless possibilities and no pollen allergies, then it would get boring after a little while. You got to have a little bit, a little bit of triumph and
Yep.
things to work towards. But at the same time, it shouldn't be unnecessarily complicated. It should be unnecessarily difficult. It shouldn't be, you know, one of my mentors says something all the time, which I think is so profound. He talks about how like everybody needs some form of accommodation. You know, a parent with a kid who's got a soccer tournament might need an accommodation of being let off work 2 hours earlier one day so that they can go to their kid's soccer game. And it's kind of like, who, like in the grand scheme of the universe, who is it really going to hurt to let that parent have those 2 hours off? Like, really? I mean, in very, very specific, okay, if the parent is a brain surgery and they're scheduled to give life-saving emergency surgery to somebody and they're the only surgeon in a 100-mile radius, okay, that's very specific and it's a little different. But if they're just an office worker, if they're just, doing a job, like you can, I mean, I give my staff time off all the
Right.
time because when they're working, they're doing their job, they're reaching their targets, they're doing their, like, who cares? Okay, great. You want to take Friday off? Have fun. Like, I don't care. I'll see you on Monday. Like, keep doing your job, whatever. And I think that when you look at accessibility like that, when you kind of get off this idea that life is supposed to be zero effort and zero work, and that no one should ever have to like try to do anything, it's really easy to survey your cast and ask, do you have any allergies? Should we make sure we're not filming on a location with a cat, or we tell you ahead of time so you can take an allergy pill before you show up?
Right.
Or we can find another location. Like there's so many ways to just have a conversation and make those barriers more just navigational points and less like hard brick walls that you just can't go through.
Right. That's great. So let me ask you another question. Sometimes what I do is I'll break up my interview into pieces. And one of the things that I've personally discovered in doing these interviews are good public relations points where, it seems like the Easter Seals, they sponsor this, correct?
So the Easter Seals Disability Film Challenge is a film challenge that was actually created by Nick Novicki. He's an actor and comedian who's also a little person. And he's been on things as a voice actor in one of the Spider-Man Lego movies. So he's an incredible actor and comedian. And he started the Disability Film Challenge 11 years ago. This year's challenge, they had over 130 submissions. They're partnered with Easter Seals, but as far as the actual team like doing the work, like collecting all the films, uploading all the films, running everything, managing everything. It's a very, very small team of just Nick and a couple other people. Like when I had a question, I literally like emailed and like Nick himself answered. And like when I didn't know what to do, and I ended up texting Nick and he ended up calling me back. Like I was a little bit like in my head, I was like, aren't you like really busy right now? Like, why aren't you personally calling me? It's a very small team.
Right.
So, the challenge has sponsors like Adobe and Netflix and the Walt Disney Company, Paramount, Amazon Pictures, Sony, IMDb. The awards ceremony will be held on May 9th at the Sony Pictures lot in Los Angeles. And there are grand prizes of grants given of $15,000 for development funds for each of the category winners. So like best director, best actor, best editing, best story, they all get a $15,000 grant. So that is all the sponsors of the contest itself.
I see. I
Um,
see.
but it's
So,
run.
because,
Yeah.
I love learning. This is why I do this. Sometimes I don't want to know because I learn, like, I don't want to know too much because I want to actually be the student learning. And when you just said to me as a business person or an artist, as a creative person, this is an actual feeder into another level where now you're going to get a grant and now you're going to get the ear of all these people who need content. Like, like content is content. And there's so much opportunity now for diversity in all levels. Even old guys like me. Like I'm a nurse. Well, I guess I don't know if I'm diverse or not, but the point is that like I'm 66 years old, and I'm like I don't feel 66, but I'm 66 years old, and I'm supposed to retire, right? I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to like ride off into the sunset but all I want to do is like do more. I don't want to do less. And this seems like a great opportunity. So maybe in a sense of like, from um, a thankfulness to this group and putting it together because of the opportunities that it leads to. Like, how would you express that to them in this moment?
I am beyond thankful to have the opportunity to even potentially be seen. And that may sound very like pandering, but there's absolutely no words for how much I mean it. It is a bloodbath when it comes to like, I worked in Hollywood for years, for over a decade.
Mhm.
I hate it. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of great things about it. I know some amazing people who I love dearly, very dear friends. I despise the systemic issues that just rot and fester in that studio system. And it's been an issue since day one. Like Hollywood has problems. We all know that.
Yeah.
As a filmmaker with disabilities, I am so incredibly thankful to Nick Novicki, to the Easter Seals Disability Film Challenge, to all of the massive organizations that sponsor the Easter Seals Disability Film Challenge, because it means that like I have a chance. Like they're gonna see me. Like, and then it's up to me. Like I have to do the work. I have to be good enough. I have to be worthy of their attention. And I get that. But at least I was welcomed into the room. And as a filmmaker with disabilities, I don't always have that opportunity. And as someone who thinks outside the box and operates in a very different way, because I live with disabilities, because my whole company is made up primarily of people who live with disabilities, we do not fit the normal way of being filmmakers. And I'm very different in what I do. And this opportunity has meant that I was given a chance. And I know that we did the best we could with the circumstances. I know that even just having my film be one of the 130 films on that YouTube channel right now, it means that I'm there. And if someone sees me, if they think I'm good enough, like I just know that I was given the opportunity to step up to bat and take a swing. And that means so much to me. Like no words for me and my team.
Wow.
Like it just, yeah.
That's amazing. So what opportunity is this going to give you? Like, who do you end up in front of? Like what's the possibilities that this could launch your career?
That's a very interesting question because I'm looking for support as an independent filmmaker. I'm not looking for someone to step in and be like, oh, come be my pet now, like come direct this studio film. If someone asks me to direct the next Marvel movie, I'm not saying no. I love the Marvel movies, but um, I, it's not where I'm focused on. Like
Right.
I know so many people, they want to move to Atlanta, they want to move to LA, they want to be in the next Star Wars. Like that's their goal.
Right.
I just want someone who can see what we can do without any support, help from the perspective of someone who has more experience, genuinely knows more than we do, and can kind of spot the gaps where we need more support, fill that support and help elevate us to a point where we're able to create, massive blockbuster films and features and things like that that go on to major streaming platforms while still being able to keep our stories and not having to then turn them over to where it's like, oh yeah, we love this script. Here, I'm going to buy it from
Right.
you. And I'm like, wait, I optioned that script. That's a script that I optioned and developed already. I'm not trying to sell it. I'm trying to make it. And it's hard because it's like, am I good enough? I don't know. I don't know what I don't know because I've not yet been able to interact at that level. I know how good I am compared to other independent filmmakers, but I don't know where I fall for like the top industry pros. Like I'm a stunt choreographer at this level. Am I going to do the next Mission Impossible movie? Absolutely not. And anybody would be out of their mind to even think about asking me to. But can I choreograph a little sequence down a hallway? Can I choreograph a small fight sequence? Yeah, totally. I can do it safely. I can train the actors fine. So I just need somebody who knows enough to help me understand what I don't know so that I can continue to learn. And I think what the Easter Seals Disability Film Challenge provides is the opportunity to get seen and the opportunity to have ties to the industry that can then come in and say, this is how you should take your next steps. This is what you should do as a producer or as a director or as a writer and help foster that growth so that we can continue to do what we're doing and just continue to do it better and continue to reach more people and tell more stories and support more artists. Because when I produce a film and I hire people, I'm providing employment for them. And I want to keep doing that. And I want to do it on a bigger level.
Wow. You have a heart.
Yeah.
You have a goal. That's really nice. I, I've been doing this for, it'll be 50 years pretty soon. And not every producer has a heart of gold. They have a heart of the dollar, and to me, filmmaking isn't only about money. It's about the project and people and camaraderie and working together. It seems like you got a really tight knit team that works very well together, and I wish you guys a lot of luck on this, and I hope you win.
If we get nominated just because what the nomination does as far as getting eyes on your film, I will crush it.
I am
Winning, there's 130 films. We have a 1 in 130 chance of
in your
winning.
in your category.
Yeah.
Okay,
And yeah, so for best picture, or for the best film,
right,
there's 130 films.
right.
So the fact that we made it in, the fact that we're included, I've already started to watch some of the other films already. And like, I never, ever, ever feel like, yeah, we got this. I definitely do not feel like we got this. I feel like we are among some incredible filmmakers and some amazing storytellers. I hope that the fact that we are entirely made of disabled, we don't have like an able-bodied producer and an able-bodied director kind of leading the disabled crew. We have all of our bloodline. I hope that whoever beats us has that same, where every single person on the set was disabled.
Right.
Because if we're fighting with one hand tied behind our back, I think it's only fair that the people we're fighting also have one hand tied behind their back. And, we lost an entire day because we just had to recover from being on set.
Right.
Like the day after filming, I didn't do anything. Like, I mean, we dumped the footage, we synced the audio, like little things, but like we didn't really actually start until almost 24 hours after we wrapped the last day. And I'm sure other people were like on their computers and editing and starting, and they probably had, I'm sure some people had able-bodied editors. I'm sure some people had bigger teams than we did. We chose to work with the people we chose to work with. I just want our team to be seen for our potential and any shortcomings that we have. I hope that this opportunity means a way for us to grow and learn and do better next time. Like that's every film we do, I do a little recap and I go, okay, what went well? How do we reinforce that? What did not go so great? How do we fix that? And that every single film. And I always want to continue to do that because as soon as you stop learning, like what's the point? It's just, yeah.
I understand. I mean, sometimes like when you've honed your craft, you're really good at it to the degree where you become one of the top people on the planet doing it. Then you have more influence in the sense of what you want to choose and what you want to do. Like work at Clint Eastwood, look at Scorsese, look at all these Spielbergs. I mean, they had a lot of clout, but you know, there's a lot of people out there who are communicating now because of social media, uh, short films, YouTube, that's a communication line into the world, So I think you're moving into the right direction here, and you just got to keep doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it and not stop, which you're already doing anyway. So keep telling you what you're already doing is kind of silly, but
I appreciate that.
great. Do you have anything else you want to say?
I guess just that I'm really thankful for our team. I'm really glad that everybody pulled together to make it happen. There were lots of times where we could have given up and they didn't. Um, I I hope people watch the film and they enjoy just watching a fun film. I hope they laugh. I hope they feel like entertained for 5 minutes. It's a short film. And I hope they see what we can do. And I hope it helps them, if they come across somebody who has a disability, who's applying for a job or applying for a role, and they're saying, this is what I can do. I hope that maybe they listen and that they accept that and that they're willing to give that person a chance because there's so much creativity out there. There's so many incredibly talented people out there. And as soon as you kind of open that door, just the possibilities become endless. So
That's great.
yeah, it was an absolute rush to make the heist. We had all of our above the line talent, crew, and a bunch of below the line crew were all people with disabilities. We did not have a single able bodied person in a major role on this project at all. And to be able to submit that to the Easter Seals Disability Film Challenge, to be able to know that our work could potentially be seen by people from places like Netflix, like the Walt Disney Company. Um, One of my driving forces as a filmmaker is the original idea from Walt Disney about making movies of we don't make movies to make money, we make money to make more movies. That has always driven me. And it's always been such like a huge part of who I am as a filmmaker, what I'm always trying to do and how I look at all of our finances always is like, how can we use this to make more movies? So the opportunity that this challenge presents and the fact that it could open so many doors not just for me, but for my entire team to be able to be invited into these spaces where we get to make more movies is just terrifyingly exhilarating. We made the heist because we wanted to make the movie because it was an incredible opportunity to come together and tell the story. And then knowing that making the heist could get us into a room where we might possibly be seen, it's just exhilarating. And no matter what, we got to make an amazingly fun film. It's going to live on YouTube now. We can share it. We can show everybody. And that's just a huge, 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 huge thing for all of us.
Where on YouTube can you find it?
It is Easter Seals Disability Film Challenge YouTube channel. All of the films are uploaded on there. So you can look for The Heist. And that is our film. Obviously, if you see other films that are amazing for you or that you're excited about or look interesting, go ahead and watch them and support them. The idea is to be supporting filmmakers with disabilities and seeing what their filmmaking capabilities are. And for our specific film, it is The Heist 2024 Easter Seals Disability Film Challenge Entry MP4. That is the name of the title.
Wow.